Hello, everybody. Welcome to It3 and our discussion of deviant crime social control. The light cover is going to go pretty fast here, back into our 10 minutes here. So we're talking about social norms for the most here. We're going to look at what is accepted in society and why whatever in society is, how it changes over time. And from a sociology perspective, what tools do we use to measure those changes? The book has several examples I'm going to just go through and mention as go through. Talk about the Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo here in the United States was known for, or basically taught, opening new accounts in order to be bonuses. It was if somebody had an account, they would use their personal information, open a new account in order to reach their quotas and bonuses, and they did so without the client knowing. So they wound up, as you can see, look from the case study, being sanctioned and paying a big for that. So we can ask you several questions about which following crime should be punished severely. I'm just enter this for yourself, and the 10th chapter to do with most importantly deviance and what deviance is. It may or may not equate to the laws or formal rules. It's generally negative. But what one person sees as right or wrong, that's maybe the society as a whole, or something a change over time. Changing for let's talk about marijuana first. What was once one of the most was added in with most of the drugs that are considered harmful or dangerous. We've seen a shift in modern times where medicinal purposes are more accepted, but recreational is still there's still kind of already accepted. Like LGBTQ have been a topic across the world, as what is and is not accepted in society. The way the book really displays is that despite or oppression in society that and the Human Rights Campaign have fought to, at the very least, have protected rights, which includes the Defense Against Marriage Act, which legalized LGBTQ marriage. There are certain rights in protecting. This is a hot topic in the United States right now, and some other countries around the world. And so, whatever your thoughts on this, how society views it, where there was just recently the very first NBA player was charged in a organized racketeering or organized gambling setup. So I think we'll be hearing a lot more about this as time goes on. The ethics behind this is really important because in gambling situations is something, especially sports betting. In what situations is there insider trading or information, and is there ethical or back to Wells Fargo situation we talked about at the beginning where there's some type of fraud involved. And so control, we're going to look at functionalism. Functionalism is a theory that we on psychology as well as sociology. It's a very similar understanding. Functionalism on the side, it's a about how the theoretical ideas function in one another. On sociology side, however, functionalism is a perspective of how different social norms and social standards interact with each other. So it's important to know terms moving forward. Functionalism, the nature of deviance is that, according to Emile Durkheim, is that deviance can help society progress where something may have been taboo for the previous generation. It may be the normal next generation. So I just went ahead and gave you a quick, brief synopsis of the different theories that we're going to use here when we are discussing social norms. Of course, functionalism, as I described, has several parts to it. There is the exchange theory that addresses the relationship between acceptable goals and acceptable means to reach those goals. Functionalism and social disorganization theory, where crime-occurring communities with weak social ties in the absence of social control, or where social norms are not enforced. When you're out and you're at a store and you see someone who drops a wallet, is the social norm the right thing to take that wallet into that person? The conflict theory and social control, according to Marx, is conflict is affected by the strength of social bonds and the ultimate feeling of disconnection from society. So good old Marx again is showing basically if someone has a disconnect or if they're from a environment or a population is underserved, that is the natural way to is kind of run through the dealing period, and then different statements to American, especially when they talk about it's a ruling about people who have committed felonies and are not allowed to vote in the states or the while they're incarcerated, and are prevented from owning firearms. And so I believe that this deviance plays an important society because it changes views, and that was in the book. And then also there's the nature versus nurture listed in the book as far as you have some research on twins, where twins whatever, and one of the twins was raised in a very affluent or a middle class environment, and then twin was brought up in a lower class or had access to education or resources. And if you look at these studies, nurture versus nature, many will say that environmental factors are the main reasons for dysfunction, but across the board, that's not something that you can research and come up with proof of fact, because there are those who a way to take society is once come from having it all can often relapse into a life of crime and not having direction, whereas those who came from growing up next to a crack house or where drugs are regularly being sold into it, much or politicians, even a religious pastor or priest, something where they like the community. So we're running out of time trying these presentations around 10 minutes because you have so much to do all the law. And there is no still established across the board, answer for crime. Of course, principal policing and communities, those can help with that.